July numbers just dropped. Average price under $1 million. Sales down year over year. But before you read a headline and panic, let me tell you what's actually going on, because the headline and the reality are two completely different things right now. July is always slow. People are at the cottage, kids are at camp. Nobody's signing a purchase agreement in July unless they have to, or unless they want a really great deal because competition is light. Here's what actually matters. New listings dropped almost 18% compared to last July. Active listings down 12%. Sellers just aren't showing up to the table, and that's been the story for months. Less supply, demand holding, that combination does one thing to prices eventually. You've probably heard the term seasonally adjusted. The simple version is analysts strip out the fact that July is always dead and look at the underlying trend. And when they do that, sales were actually up from June. The market isn't cooling, it's just on vacation with everybody else. Now, let's talk about what's actually happening in Toronto proper, because if you live here, the overall TREB numbers really just mean nothing to you. Those numbers include Orangeville, Bradford, Innisfil, and everywhere in between. So let's talk about the city that matters, your city. The freehold market in established Toronto neighborhoods, Ronci, High Park, the Beaches, Leslieville, well, it's essentially done correcting. Sellers in Toronto West and Toronto East are getting 96 to 97% of asking price in about 32 days in July, the slowest month of the year. That's not a soft market. That's a market that's stabilized while everyone is reading these scary headlines. If you own a house in one of these neighborhoods and you've been waiting for the market to get better before you make a move, well, look at the data. It already has. Now condos. This is where it actually gets more interesting, because the condo story is not what most people think it is. The headline says condos are down, and that's true. 416 condo apartments averaging around $673,000, down almost 2% year over year, sitting on market for about 40 days. But here's what the headline doesn't tell you. The problem isn't condos broadly. The problem is a very specific type of condo. Investor-owned units bought at 2022 peak prices, never lived in, now being sold by the people who can't carry the mortgage and the maintenance fees anymore. Those are the units sitting for 40 days and selling at 95 cents on the dollar or worse. Those are the ones dragging the average down. Well located, properly priced, owner-occupied condos in good buildings are moving faster than that average suggests. The product really matters more than the category right now. And here's something else that's worth paying attention to. The buyer profile in this city has completely shifted. Investors are largely gone. End users are back in the game. People buying to actually live there. That is genuinely healthy for this market long term, because end users don't panic sell. They don't dump their unit the second things get uncertain. That stability is exactly what this market needs right now. On the jobs front, Toronto unemployment is around 7%, which sounds bad. But employment actually grew almost 1%, and the people losing jobs are concentrated in specific sectors. The professional class that buys Toronto real estate, lawyers, tech workers, finance, well, that group is largely still employed and largely still sitting on the sidelines, waiting to feel that confidence to come back in the game and make that move. And when they do, this city has 3 years of pent-up demand ready to go. And on supply, new condo construction has basically collapsed. We've been talking about this. Buildings take 4 to 5 years to finish. By 2029, almost nothing new is coming to market in the city. Population keeps growing. You don't need to be an economist to know where that ends up. September is when this market usually wakes back up, because historically September is one of the strongest months of the year. So the question is whether you're positioned for it or you're still waiting. If you're buying freehold in established Toronto neighborhoods, well, your window of low competition might be closing. Condos, you still have negotiating power, but be selective, because the difference between a good condo buy and a bad one right now comes down to the specific unit, the building, whether you're buying from a motivated seller or someone who still thinks it's 2022. If you're selling a house, price it right on day one and it'll move. If you're selling a condo, the market will tell you very fast if you're priced wrong. So don't chase it down, get ahead of it, and I'll see you next month.